Gas prices are forcing Americans to cut back on spending. We have a YouTuber involved in a shooting. If you know who this guy is, you're probably not surprised. And AI for your eyes. This is the foundation current events for May 18th, 2026. I am Sot L, seeker of truth L, speaker of truth L. And, I appreciate y'all checking out the current events. Let's jump right into it. Be sure to check out welcome to thefoundation.com. Sign up for the email list. Por favor. That's please in Spanish. You know, I'm not going to do any ads or advertisings, but I'm just going to say sign up for the email list, please. It's for your own good. I promise. Silver currently $77.53. It's down about $11 from last week. I think it was right around $88 and some change. But that's neither here nor there. Dollar cost average $25, $50, $100, whatever you can afford. Every 2 weeks or every month, take that amount, go buy silver. Every single time. Just do it. Just do it. You'll thank me in a year. Promise. Shanghai Eastern spot prices $86.06 for an ounce of silver. Western spot price $77.57 for an ounce of silver. Got about a 51 change and $9, 9.51 or so. Difference, it's right around $10. It's the same silver. It's denominated in the same currency. Why is the price different for the same silver? We got it. Trump leaves Beijing with few wins but warm words for Xi Jinping. I think that's his name. U.S. President Donald Trump left China Friday with no major breakthroughs on trade or tangible help from Beijing to end the war in Iran, despite 2 days spent heaping praise on his host. Trump's visit to America's main strategic and economic rival, the first by a U.S. president since his last trip in 2017, had aimed for tangible results to lift his sagging approval ratings. Right before midterm elections in November, Xi will visit the U.S. in this fall, according to China's foreign minister. The summit was filled with pageantry, from goose-stepping soldiers to tours of a secret garden, but behind closed doors, Xi issued a stark warning to Trump that any mishandling of China's top concern, Taiwan, could spiral into conflict. During a huddle with reporters on the way back to the U.S., Trump said Xi told him he opposed Taiwan's independence. Quote, I heard him out. I didn't make a comment. I made no commitment either way, Trump said. But he added that he will decide on a pending arms sale to Taiwan shortly after speaking to, quote, the person that right now is running Taiwan, end quote. It is unclear if Trump was referring to Taiwan's president. Big deal. AI chips, processors, the wafer thin processors that they're doing nowadays. A lot of that stuff is happening in Taiwan. Nvidia is in Taiwan. It's traded on the New York Stock Exchange, but it's actually in Taiwan. Heavy dependence on Taiwan. Heavy dependence. The United States has, so we'll see how that goes. I think it's going to be all bad eventually. It's going to be all bad. Wall Street falls as higher yields threaten AI-led rally. Wall Street's main indices fell Friday as inflation fears triggered by the Middle East conflict drove up Treasury yields and threatened to halt an AI-fueled rally. It did. It's trying to, regroup. The markets are trying to regroup this week, today. Having a tough time. Some sectors are doing better than others. Cuba warns U.S. military action would cause bloodbath after drone report. Apparently, The United States put out a report saying that Cuba had acquired more than 300 military drones and had discussed plans to use them to attack the United States naval base at Guantanamo Bay, U.S. military vessels, and Key West, Florida. Cuba said the U.S. was fabricating a case to justify potential military intervention. Tensions between the two countries have risen sharply in recent days. Reuters reported last week, citing a U.S. Department of Justice source, that prosecutors plan to indict former Cuban leader Raul Castro over Cuba's 1996 shooting down of two planes operated by a humanitarian group. I don't know. In 1996, it's 2026. What? Isn't that's like 30 years ago? I'm going to read this again because I don't know how to, I generally don't know how to. Tensions between the two countries have risen sharply in recent days. Reuters reported last week, citing a U.S. Department of Justice source, that prosecutors plan to indict former Cuban leader Raul Castro over Cuba's 1996 shooting down of two planes operated by a humanitarian group. I don't know, man. That sounds like a reach to me, man. 1996? Man, I was in high school in 96. Wow. Global bonds battered as flaring inflation spooks investors. And this was the explanation as to why the markets did what they did Friday or Thursday leading into Friday. We also, CNN tried to do it to us? Blah, blah. We also have been watching that as well. Some sectors of the market has regained the losses or paired the losses from last week. Silver hasn't. Americans are shelling out for higher gas prices while cutting back on some goods. Retail sales have climbed half a percent in April from the prior month. The Commerce Department said Thursday, down from March's 1.6%, and marking the third consecutive monthly increase. This is gasoline. That was slightly below the 0.6% increase economists projected in a poll by data firm FactSet. The figures are adjusted for seasonal swings, but not inflation. Retail spending was up across most categories last month, but it was down at furniture stores, car dealerships, department stores, and clothing shops. Meanwhile, sales at gas stations rose just 2.8% in April, down sharply from March's steep 13.7% increase, which brought down the headline figure. A measure of retail sales that strips out volatile categories such as sales of building materials and gasoline increased 46%. 0.46%. I don't even know why they do it in these small little stupid numbers. It's ridiculous. But that's a very, very small percentage increase. April higher than the 0.2% economists projected. That figure is known as the control group, which economists say is good measure of underlying consumer data. 0.46%, 0.46%. I don't remember which one. 0.46%? No, I know it's not thousands. I'm just going to say 46 hundredths. Correct me in the comments. Various surveys show that U.S. consumers have grown frustrated with spikes in prices associated with the conflict in the Middle East, yet Americans may still continue to spend so long as the unemployment rate remains low and businesses continue to add jobs. The latest employment data for April showed that to be the case, with unemployment holding steady at a low 4.3% and employers adding a stronger than expected 115,000 jobs that month. Consumer spending is closely tied to the health of the labor market, it may be time to worry like it's 1999. They do it to us? They did. But they can't get us. For a handful of veteran Wall Street analysts, the dot-com deja vu is back. And yes, some have been banging this drum for years, shouting the word bubble only to watch valuations climb ever higher. But there are new macroeconomic shots that have put the stock market's meme-like mania under renewed scrutiny. Or scrutiny. Scrutiny. I don't know. I like them both. Particularly from the folks who were there when the music stopped at the turn of the century. There is definitely a generational breakdown. This is Steve Sosnick, chief strategist at Interactive Brokers. Those who went through the internet bubble or are having flashbacks, while younger investors have never met a dip that didn't make sense to buy. Quote, if you weren't trading in 1999-2000, then you're in luck. This is what it was like. Now you can experience it. Helen Messler wrote in social media. Why the sudden rush of memories for the days of Y2K? Dahlia's Britney Spears and some of the best movies ever made is partly about AI, partly about the war, and partly about the U.S. economy that's looking increasingly vulnerable. Quote, history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. And there are several rhyme schemes here that are plausible. End quote. Despite the Black Swan event of the Strait of Hormuz closing, wars in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, a slowing U.S. labor market, and the vanishing likelihood of the Fed cutting rates this year, tech stocks are on a tear. The NASDAQ is up more than 20% since its March 30. The Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, meanwhile, shot up a mind-boggling 70% between late March and Monday's close, and although chip stocks led a pullback on Tuesday after a worse-than-expected inflation report, stocks are still trading comfortably near record highs. On Friday, stocks showed another eerie historical rhyme when the S&P 500 hit a record high despite 5% of its components hitting 52-week lows. This is an indicator of the extreme concentration in tech stocks propping up the broader market. Yep, they're saying it's going to happen again. Chud the Builder. You heard about this guy? Live streamer known for racist content. Faces attempted murder charge. Bond was set at $1.25 million. I don't know if you guys know this guy, right? This is his face. He be on YouTube saying slanderous, racially charged words, the N-words, to melanated people. And they be talking about chimping out and stuff, and if you get live, he'll spray them with mace. But I guess he's gone further than the mace. A live streamer known for posting videos with racist content online appeared in court Friday morning on charges including attempted murder after a shooting outside a Tennessee courthouse. Dalton Etherly, who goes by Chud the Builder online, was taken into custody after a confrontation with another man, who authorities have not named, escalated into a shooting outside the Montgomery County Courthouse in Clarksville last Wednesday. Etherly, who's 28, faces additional charges including employing a firearm during a dangerous felony, aggravated assault, and reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. This is according to the Montgomery sheriffs. During his arraignment and bond hearing, General Session Court Judge Reed Poland III set a $1.25 million bond, quote, based upon the fact of how many people were in the courtyard over here at the courthouse and the seriousness of all the felonies. Etherly, wearing a marked Montgomery County Jail jumpsuit, could be seen closing his eyes for a while when the judge announced the bond amount. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess he shot the guy and then shot himself on accident. That's all I'm going to read on it. But I mean, if you're familiar with this guy and you've been watching him at all on Instagram, he's on TikTok. It's horrible. It's horrible. But there it is. I wonder if they left the gold in Fort Knox because they steal a lot. Trump speculates on U.S. gold reserve. The United States' massive gold reserve at Fort Knox is making headlines after Trump once again suggested that the billions of bullion may have been stolen. In an interview on Full Measure with Cheryl Atkinson, a Sunday morning current affairs program that airs on the Sinclair's Group television and web platforms, the topic of gold reserve was raised. Quote, "What happened to the audit of Fort Knox?" the president was asked. "When you first got into office, you and Elon talked about auditing. Quote, we wanted to go knock on the door for Fort Knox, very thick door," Trump replied, "to see whether or not we have any gold in there because we would take a look at it. It's a very interesting question," he continued. "We played with that, and I wonder if they left the gold in Fort Knox because they steal a lot." "No need to really do that, though," Atkinson pressed. Quote, "Well, I don't know," Trump said. "I don't want to go to Fort Knox sometime. Oh, I do want to go to Fort Knox sometime. I want to see if the gold is there, which I'm sure it will be." He said they steal a lot. I don't know, man. This guy, you got to be careful with this guy. AI for your eyeballs. Expansio AR, augmented reality contact lenses. You're gonna have a chip in your eyes. Listen. Oh wow! If augmented reality glasses are the future, AR contact lenses are probably a bit farther away. Smart contact lens startup Expansio says it's hoping to address at least one of this technology's main issues with the inclusion of miniature solid-state batteries in your eyeball. You want a solid-state battery on your eye? In partnership with France-based solid-state battery startup i10, Expansio announced it's developing a proof-of-concept augmented reality contact lens with a built-in micro battery, something the company's hope will solve a main challenge in ocular wearables right now. Conventional batteries are thick, not durable enough, and aren't suitable to be used in devices worn directly on the human eye. I don't know if you're ready for that. Starbucks to cut 300 U.S. jobs, close some regional support offices. That's self-explanatory. Cisco to cut thousands of jobs as AI push accelerates after earnings beat. Cisco Systems is planning to cut nearly 4,000 employees as part of a broader strategic shift toward artificial intelligence, following a stronger than expected earnings report last Wednesday. The layoffs, representing less than 5% of the company's global workforce, sent shares up roughly 20% in after-hours trading. The San Jose-based tech giant said the move reflects its strategy to position itself for the AI era by redirecting investment toward areas with the strongest demand and the highest value. Quote, "I'm confident Cisco will be one of those winners. This means making hard decisions," end quote. This was Chuck Robbins, Cisco's CEO. That's wild. More and more jobs. What, a few years ago I was calling it the retail apocalypse. It's more than just retail though these days. But I'm going to say that's it for current events. Hope you learned something. I'll enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself. Make sure you say 10 things that you're thankful for before you go to sleep tonight and every night. It's very important. And I will catch y'all tomorrow on current events. I promise. Unless it's a slow news day. Peace, y'all.